Despite the terrible diagnosis, young Kizi tries to lead an everyday life. A few years ago, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. The girl is forced to wear an oxygen tank constantly because she can't breathe without a tube. Kizi is in college. She has loving parents who are very protective of their daughter. The girl lives in her boring little world, waiting for the inevitable, death. Yet she secretly dreams of being healthy and finding love. Kizi has a strange hobby. She goes to funerals for strangers. The girl feels sorry for the families to whom grief has come. She represents her funeral and her parents, who will have to suffer. It's so sad that every life has to end sooner or later. One day, going to college, Kizi sees two guys on the street. They aren't at all shy about singing and dancing. Guys fool around like they're playing a movie. Kizi is surprised. She couldn't have so much fun in front of passers-by. The girl comes to college. Today, students participate in the talent competition, and Kizi is watching a concert. She is surprised because the guys who just had fun on the street burst onto the stage. They dance and sing, although they aren't included in the list of participants. After the concert, Kizi is waiting for her mother, who constantly picks up her daughter after school. A guy stops by the girl, who she has already seen twice today. His name is Manny, and he immediately promises to kiss Kizi. She doesn't like this arrogance. The guy offers the girl a ride, but her mother comes for her. The next day, Kizi attends a support group for people who have cancer. There she meets Manny again. A few years ago, he underwent surgery and lost part of his leg. Manny went in for sports and led an active life. It's hard to believe that this cheerful guy faced a terrible disease. Kizi seems he doesn't care about his terminal illness at all. Manny came to the meeting with his friend, who is also expecting surgery soon. In their free time, they make amateur film. Manny meets Kizi again and offers to give her a ride. This time, the girl agrees. The guy takes her to the lake, where there are a lot of abandoned cars. Kizi likes the atmosphere of this place. The girl listens to her favorite music selection. She lets Manny listen to some music, but the songs don't impress him. Manny is acting strange again. He takes a cigarette. Kizi thinks he smokes, and the girl is outraged by such frivolity. A person who has overcome cancer is so careless about his health. But Manny has his own philosophy. A cigarette doesn't harm until it is lit. This is a peculiar game with death. The next day, Kizi is again at someone else's funeral. Manny finds her, and the girl tells him why she goes to strangers' farewell ceremonies. Kizi and Manny start chatting online. In correspondence, they like to share thoughts and discuss movies and music. Manny comes to visit Kizi. He listened to her favorite album and changed his mind about it. The guy liked the music, but Manny wants to know why the composer didn't finish one of the songs. Kizi herself would be glad to see the reason, but the singer didn't make himself feel for many years. Manny surprises Kizi again. He incites her to hooligan actions. A guy and his friend throw eggs at the house of a friend's ex-girlfriend, who dumped him. Kizi definitely couldn't do that. The girl feels alive and happy. Kizi becomes friends with Manny. She agrees to take part in the shooting of his amateur movie. Young people have fun and almost forget about their health problems. Manny offers to find the singer who didn't finish the song. Kizi emails the artist and asks to meet. In the evening, Manny and Kizi go for a walk. They ride a motorcycle, walk the streets at night, and go to a restaurant. Manny asks Kizi to dance. Young people are good together, and they completely forget about cancer. Kizi feels light and effortless. She seems to be really happy now. Manny and Kizi became very close. They talk a lot on the phone. Young people come up with a code word for themselves, all right. It means they are fine. Kizi realizes that she's starting to fall in love with Manny. She sank into love slowly, like a man swallowed by sleep. At first, she had an easy crush, but now Kizi realizes her feelings are profound. The love for Manny is real and strong. In the morning, Kizi receives a letter from his favorite composer. He can't answer her questions by email, but he would gladly talk to her if the girl ever ended up in Paris. Kizi can't believe this news. She is beside herself with joy. Kizi wants to fly to Paris with Manny. But the parents don't share their daughter's enthusiasm. With her illness, one cannot remain without medical supervision for a long time. Anything can happen in a foreign country. The next day, Kizi and her parents visit the doctor for a consultation. After the examination, the doctor sets a condition. He will allow the trip if the girl is accompanied by her mother. Kizi is happy. Finally, something interesting will happen in her boring gray life. Manny sneaks into the girl's room through the window in the evening. The guy is ready to fly with her and has booked plane tickets. Kizi is delighted. A tiny little bit left before she'll be able to fulfill her dream. But cancer hates happiness. Kizi has a seizure during the night and is taken to the hospital. Manny tries to get into the girl's room, but they won't let him in. The guy isn't going to leave the hospital until he sees Kizi. Parents are frightened by the state of their daughter, and the girl is afraid of only one thing, that her death will bring a lot of grief to dear people. Kizi refuses to see Manny and doesn't want him to look at her in this state. Kizi is discharged home a few days later. Manny constantly calls her on the phone, but the girl doesn't want to continue communicating with him. She decided to shield herself from the relationship so that no one would suffer because of her. Manny's persistence haunts Kizi. Still, she can't stand it and picks up the phone. The girl still wants to fly to Paris, no matter how this trip ends. Manny sneaks into the room through the window. The guy hugs the girl. He will always be there, no matter what happens. In the evening, Manny comes to Kizi's for dinner. He jokes all the time. Manny is talking fondly of Kizi to the girl's father. The father realizes that Manny really loves his daughter. The guy wants to make Kizi's dream come true. Parents agree to their trip to Paris. Manny, Kizi, and her mom go to Europe. The girl is delighted with Paris and likes everything in this city of love. Kizi is going to meet with a composer. She puts on a beautiful red dress. The girl realizes she wants to impress not the songwriter, but Manny. Young people meet with the composer in a restaurant. Kizi is in anticipation that he will reveal all the secrets of his work. The girl asks about her favorite album and unfinished song. She expects to hear different things, but not like that. The composer's boorish behavior dumbfounds Kizi. The singer jokes unsuccessfully and doesn't make contact at all. The assistant explains that he behaves like this all the time. Manny is not going to tolerate such an attitude and takes Kizi. Both taste disappointment. But a lousy meeting shouldn't be a reason not to enjoy the city. Young people walk until the evening and are happy. Paris at night is beautiful. Kizi and Manny are alone for the first time and spend their first night together. Love completely consumes them. For a brief moment, it seems they are an ordinary guy and girl who have their whole lives ahead of them. The next day, Kizi and Manny walk around town again. Kizi confesses his love for Manny. The guy is happy, but the girl notices something is wrong with him. Manny reveals that his illness is rapidly progressing again. He learned about it back in India before the trip. The sarcoma develops so quickly that treatment won't help, and it remains to wait for the inevitable end. Kizi is shocked by this news and promises to love Manny forever. After returning home, Kizi falls into despair due to Manny's illness. She doesn't want to lose him. A few days later, Manny gets worse. He ends up in the hospital. His friend and Kizi come to see him. Manny doesn't lose his sense of humor and lust for life despite the pain. After being discharged, Kizi spends a lot of time with Manny. She asks him to finish their movie. Young people continue amateur shooting and try to live happily every day. One evening, Manny calls Kizi and asks her to pick him up from the cinema. The guy went to the movies alone. He wanted to do something for himself. There he had a seizure. Kizi finds Manny in a terrible state. He asks not to call his father, but it looks like Manny's got an infection. Kizi calls an ambulance. The guy is taken to the hospital. Kizi realizes that this is the beginning of their end. The one who taught her to smile and enjoy life is dying of pain, and she can't do anything. Kizi visits Manny at the hospital. He asks the girl to leave, but Kizi reminds him that her name translates as Velcro, and she will not come off the guy for anything in the world. The girl promises to be with him until the very end. Manny is discharged from the clinic. In the evening, he calls Kizi and invites him to a rehearsal of his funeral. The girl arrives at the church, and Manny and his friend are already there. A friend reads a farewell speech. He jokes a lot, but these jokes and kind words break Kizi's heart. She understands that soon they will have to say goodbye. Kizi also prepared a farewell speech. It is strange to talk about the death of a person sitting next to you, but cancer kills slowly and doesn't give hope for a happy ending. Kizi talks about her illness. She was insanely afraid to accept the disease and was frightened by the thought of what would happen to her parents after her death. Kizi tried to exist quietly and gradually, but one day, Manny burst into her life with a dancing walk. At first, he greatly annoyed the girl, but today, she is ready to listen to his jokes endlessly. Manny was why she wanted not to exist, but to live genuinely. Today, Kizi must let go of a loved one and again plunge into loneliness. Manny and Kizi are crying, and they cannot escape imminent death. Life has left them so little time. Manny died 2 days later. Manny left a letter for Kizi. In it, he says that people cannot decide when they are born and when they die, but people choose how to live the time given to them by fate. The prince is dead, but his princess is alive. As long as it is, their love story lives on. Kizi promised Manny that she would be happy. It's hard to keep a word when you lose the love of your life and your heart is torn to pieces. But Kizi tries to smile. She is watching a movie they made together. Manny finished the song that Kizi liked so much, which was the last gift from a loved one.